Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. First, the headlines. Police arrest 5,176 suspects in Enugu, credit success to proactive policing. Igbo monarchs reject Obi of Lagos coronations outside Igbo land. Bauchi government sacks teacher over alleged sexual harassment. Federal government says secondary schools with unqualified teachers to lose WAEC-NECO accreditation. Kano proposes bill to criminalize same-sex marriage. Resident doctors shut down hospitals nationwide. On business news, Dangote Cement pays over 3.3 trillion naira in dividends to shareholders in 15 years. On the foreign scene, South Sudan charges VP with murder after attacks, kills 250 soldiers. On sports, Madrid to host 2027 Champions League final. In the news, the Enugu State Police Command says it has arrested 5,176 suspects for various offenses in the last 6 months, attributing the feat to its proactive approach to policing. Commissioner of Police Maman Bitrus Giwa disclosed this during a press briefing. He said the strategy has significantly curbed serious crimes across the state. Breaking down the arrest, he revealed that 98 suspects were apprehended for armed robbery, 87 for kidnapping, 50 for murder, 16 for unlawful possession of arms and ammunition, 11 for rape and defilement, and 122 for cult-related activities. The police commissioner commended his officers for their commitment and acknowledged the support of sister security agencies. He also thanked Governor Peter Mbah for establishing the state's command and control center, which he said has enhanced crime-fighting efforts. Traditional rulers in the southeast have strongly condemned the coronation of individuals as Eze Ndibo or Obi of Igbo outside Igbo land, insisting that such practice is alien to Igbo culture and tradition. Reacting to the recent action of a self-acclaimed Obi of Lagos, chairman of the Imo State Council of Traditional Rulers, Eze Emmanuel Okeke, described the development as unacceptable. He stressed that Igbo tradition does not permit anyone to bear the title of Eze Ndibo or Obi of Igbo in another man's land, warning that such titles undermine the sanctity of the traditional institution. The monarch explained that only those coronated properly by their communities in Igbo land can bear the title of Eze. According to him, any other form of coronation outside Igbo land has no traditional legitimacy. In the same vein, the immediate past chairman of the Abia State Council of Traditional Rulers, Eze Ndubuisi Nwabike, described the practice as illegal and absurd, calling for its total abolition. He argued that an Eze must preside over a community within Igbo land with clearly defined territory and traditional authority, not in states or cities outside the region. He said the thing called Eze Ndibo in Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, or anywhere outside Igbo land should not be encouraged. The Bauchi state government has dismissed a teacher, Amos Joshua, over alleged sexual harassment. Joshua is a principal assistant education officer at Government College, Azare. Mr. Saleh Umar, the Information and Public Relations Officer, IPRO of the Bauchi State Civil Service Commission, stated these in a press release on Thursday in Bauchi. He said the commission approved the dismissal during its 32nd plenary held September 11. Umar stated that he dismissed officers' action contradicted the Bauchi State Public Service rules regarding sexual harassment. The statement quoted the chairman of the occasion, Dr. Ibrahim Muhammad, as saying the disciplinary proceedings against the officer were in line with the Commission's established regulations. Muhammad said the due process was strictly followed and reiterated the Commission's commitment to fairness and transparency in handling staff matters. He said the disciplinary measure will serve as a reminder to workers that professional conduct and adherence to the rules were paramount for an effective and accountable public service. The federal government has directed that secondary schools, public and private, must ensure their teachers have the proper certification, otherwise they will no longer be allowed to serve as examination centers. The new directive was contained in a memo issued by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, to the Registrar, Chief Executive of Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN. Alausa said the directive was in line with the government policy to strengthen professionals in the teaching profession. He directed that from 2027, accreditation of both public and private secondary schools for the conduct of public examinations, including WASC, NABTEB, NECO, and NBS, would be strictly tied to teachers' TRC and certification. Alausa also indicated in the memo that state governments are requested to take due cognizance of the directive. He urged state government to put in place necessary measures to ensure compliance by all teachers in state-owned secondary schools and private secondary schools within the stipulated 2 years from the date of the policy directive. However, in order to afford the ease of compliance, he urged teachers who are non-education graduates but possess not less than 12 months of classroom teaching experience to enroll in the National Teachers Institute. The minister said that the affected teachers could qualify for the abridged professional certificate program offered through the National Teachers Institute (NTI). Kano State Government Alhaji Abba Yusuf has approved the transmission of a bill to the State House of Assembly seeking to criminalize same-sex marriage and other practices considered immoral in the state. The move was disclosed in a statement issued by the governor's spokesperson on Friday, Sanusi Dawakintofa. Yusuf gave the approval while presiding over the 31st Executive Council meeting held at the Government House Annex in Kwankwasia City. Kano State, one of Nigeria's most populous northern states, is governed largely by Islamic law under the framework of Sharia, which coexists with the Nigerian constitution. Nigeria already has a federal law, the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act of 2014, which criminalizes same-sex unions and related activities nationwide, prescribing penalties of up to 14 years in prison. The National Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) has directed its members to withdraw services from public hospitals nationwide from Friday. The action followed the expiration of a 24-hour ultimatum issued to the federal government to meet its outstanding demands. The ultimatum came after an earlier 10-day deadline which lapsed on 10 September without resolution. On 1st September, NARD had warned it would embark on an indefinite strike if the government failed to address the issues within 10 days. Resident doctors, who constitute the majority of the medical workforce in teaching and specialist hospitals, have repeatedly gone on strike in recent years over unpaid wages, poor welfare, and inadequate working conditions. Osundare said the association acknowledged the government's promise to address their concerns but insisted on immediate actions. Air Peace has suspended the captain of a Boeing 737 aircraft that skidded off the runway at Obafemi Awolowo International Airport, Port Harcourt on July 13, 2025. The airline said the pilot was relieved of flight duty for failing to observe crew resource management principles and for ignoring his co-pilot's advice to execute a go-around. In a statement issued on Friday, Air Peace clarified that the suspension was not linked to any positive Brazil test, adding that the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB) has yet to officially communicate such results to the airline. The courier said the co-pilot who failed for a go-around during the landing had been reinstated after clearance from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA). Air Peace said it will step up alcohol and drug testing for its crew members and intensify fitness for duty checks. ComfortTV.channel news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business, Dangote Cement PLC has paid more than 3.3 trillion in dividends to its shareholders over the last 15 years, alongside significant capital appreciation of its stock. The disclosure was made during the company's Facts Behind the Figures presentation at the Nigerian Exchange, led by its new chairman, Mr. Emmanuel Ikazobo, who recently succeeded Aliko Dangote. Ikazobo thanked shareholders for their support and assured them of continuous strong returns. Chief Executive Arvind Pathak outlined the company's growth plans, targeting an expansion of installed capacity to 66.4 MTA by 2030 through a mix of greenfield and brownfield projects. He revealed that Dangote Cement had commissioned the first phase The first phase, 1.5 MTA of its 3 MTA Côte d'Ivoire plant, while construction of the 6 MTA integrated Ituri plant in Ogun State was progressing steadily. The company has also committed $400 million to doubling its production capacity in Ethiopia. On the foreign scene, South Sudan's Vice President Riek Machar has been charged with murder, treason and crimes against humanity over an attack on a military base that killed more than 250 soldiers. A fragile power-sharing agreement between President Salva Kiir and his first Vice President Machar has been unraveling for months in the world's youngest country. In early March, a militia from Machar's ethnic Nuer community, known as the White Army, attacked a military base in Nasir County, Upper Nile State in the northeast of the country. The government says Machar was responsible and has now charged him and 20 others with murder, conspiracy, terrorism, treason, destruction of public property, and crimes against humanity. The trial of a man charged with plotting to shoot Donald Trump on a Florida golf course during last year's election campaign began in earnest Thursday after 3 days of jury selection. In an unusual step, defendant Ryan Ruth, 59, is representing himself at the trial in Florida, which is expected to last between 2 and 4 weeks. Minutes into his opening statement, Judge Alien Cannon interrupted Ruth as he talked about the history of humanity and conflicts around the world, according to U.S. media. The Hawaii resident, who has no legal training, is charged with attempted assassination of a presidential candidate, assaulting a federal officer, and firearms offenses. He faces life in prison if evicted. On sports, the 2027 Champions League final will be played at the Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid, European football's governing body UEFA announced. It will be the second time that Atletico Madrid's home stadium will host the final of Europe's elite club competition after Liverpool beat Tottenham Hotspur there in 2019. Azerbaijan's capital Baku had been the other candidate to host next season's showpiece game, but UEFA opted for the Spanish capital following a meeting of its committee in Tirana. The season's Champions League final will take place in Budapest on May 30, 2026. And that's our news bulletin for the evening. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Police arrest 5,176 suspects in Enugu. Credits success to proactive policing. Igbo monarchs reject Obi of Lagos coronations outside Igbo land. Bauchi government sacks teacher over alleged sexual harassment. Federal government says secondary schools with unqualified teachers to lose WAEC/NECO accreditation. On business, Dangote Cement pays over 3.3 trillion naira in dividends to shareholders in 15 years. On the foreign scene, South Sudan charges VP with murder after attack kills 250 soldiers. And on sports, Madrid to host 2027 Champions League final. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like, share our videos, and subscribe to our channel. Click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.